Welcome to the Journey to Home Ownership by Fiona and Sammy. So I am Sammy Lyon. I'm associate broker at Dow Capital. I love doing these workshops with Fiona because she is the ultimate mortgage nerd. She knows everything about everything related to lending. And if she doesn't know, she will find out. So yeah, just wanted to you know, give some of the basics of home ownership and what the process looks like. And specifically the lending piece is a big question that a lot of people have. So I will pass it to Fiona Bryan, who will start us off.
Yeah, great. Do we have our next slide?
Okay, cool.
There we go. So basically, when you buy a home, you need a team. And those people on your team are super important because everybody has a different role. And each role is very specialized. Myself with the financing, Sammy on the realtor side, particularly when you're in escrow, helping you through, your inspections and the negotiations and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, that's why we basically we come together as a package deal oftentimes because I can't do what I do without Sammy, and I think Sammy probably is very appreciative of me at times. So, Sammy, if you have the next slide, I think the best place to start is just basically talking about the tips for a really simple loan pre-approval. Many times people will call Sammy first because they've seen a home or they want to talk about the house they want to buy. And inevitably, the question becomes, how much are we going to spend? And so that's where the pre-approval comes in. And so this is just a list that I put together of the main things that you want to be really aware of as you're going through the pre-approval process. Definitely, it's never too early to get pre-approved. Start early because if there are things that we need to do, we can take the time to do them. But essentially, the main things you want to keep in mind are, keep living in your current residence. If you are paying a mortgage or your rent, continue to pay it. Pay everything on time. Don't stop using your credit cards. Don't stop, being the normal use of your daily finances because that credit is really important, and the use of credit and paying of credit is really important to your credit score. Essentially, you do not want to be putting large amounts of cash deposits into your accounts. We always have to have a 2 month seasoning of the funds that we use in a transaction. And so if you've got money stuffed under your mattress, you want to sort of start trying to put that into the bank sooner rather than later so that we don't have to track those things. Don't consolidate credit cards. Don't take on any of the debt consolidation loans or personal loans. Reach out to me first before you do anything because a lot of times people think they have they're like, oh, my credit is bad, I have all these these loans, and when we take a look at it, it's really the overall credit balance is not the issue. It's the monthly payment that you're having that will count against your debt to income ratio. So anyway, these are just some tips to kind of as you're entering into the process to sort of keep in mind. But these are the things that we typically will see and pick up when we start to do the pre-approval. And so it's never too early to just kind of start putting those things into practice.
Yeah.
But
and
yeah.
Now it's March of 2024. So, it's also a good time to catch any things before you file your taxes. It's like you just got your
particularly for
W-2s, right? So like
self-employed.
self-employed folks. So any of those documents you have, just like put them in a folder. I just take them and I just scan them right away and throw them in a Dropbox. So I know, so you're like ready, and then you're not running around looking for documents and stuff.
Yeah. So, I mean, and that brings us to, the formal loan application and, what kind of loan product are we going to use? But, you know, typically the conversation that we have be basic questions. I will ask you a little bit about, what your job is how often you're paid, what you think your income is. And the big deal, though, is once we go into the formal application, getting those documents in so that we can actually cross-reference what you've entered into the application and confirm, because an underwriter is going to want to see 30 days of pay stubs, 2 years of W-2s. We're going to need to see a 2-year history of housing. And so if you've moved, that's fine. We just need to have both of those addresses on file. And then we'll do a credit pull to see what kind of debt you have, and then 2 months of bank statements. And that's where we're really kind of looking for the balance that you have for your down payment, not necessarily what's going in and out of the account, unless there are large cash deposits or deposits that we can't trace. And then, if you are self-employed, we're going to collect the 2 years of taxes, as well as your, K-1s, 1099s, anything like that. If we do a VA loan, we're going to, at that point, get our certificate of eligibility and all those kinds of things. So just those are the types of documents that we're going to be pulling in, but those are an important part of the loan application, because without those documents, we can't actually confirm and give an approval. You can qualify on numbers, but we cannot approve just based on a verbal action.
Do you want to share the difference between a pre-approval and a pre-qualification then?
Yeah, so a pre-qualification essentially would be, us having a conversation and you saying, hey, I make X amount salary, and I have X amount in the bank, and I want to spend, I have no debt, or I have, a car payment or something like that. We basically can come up with a ballpark. Where it's really hard, though, is with variable income. So if you're an hourly employee, I'm really very rarely going to even talk about ballpark numbers, because it's very few people work 40 hours a week. Some people have overtime. Some people have, and anytime we do something with variable income, it is so far off where people think it's going to be, that I don't even do a pre-qual anymore. I only do pre-approvals. Yeah. So, and then, basically what the underwriter is looking for, when you're applying for a loan, what are they looking for? 3 things. They want to know your ability to repay. And that really comes from, do you have the income, and do you have a history of paying your bills? Your willingness to repay the loan. Have you paid all of your previous loans? How is the property going to be used? And that's really, again, the credit report is going to give us a history. And then the collateral, and that comes down to our appraisal of the property. They want to make sure that what they're investing in is what we're paying for it. So we typically will get a conditional approval when we go into escrow. We'll get a conditional approval, and that basically says, yes, this is approved based on what we have. And then they'll say, we need another pay stub, or we're waiting on title, or we're waiting on something, the appraisal, those types of things. But the income qualification and the income approval is super important, and that's why we pre-underwrite a lot of our loans, so that we know going in that at least the borrower and the client are solid.
Right. Yeah, because a lot of the underwriting is very much, there's the client, the borrower, but then there's also the property. And so then in escrow, those two things, first you're pre-underwriting the client with like property TBD, right? Because we don't know. Then underwriting the property, which would be like the appraisal, right, or the HOA, or if it's condo, townhome, and then at the end of escrow, they come together.
And very rarely very rarely will I go into escrow that doesn't close. In fact, I will say 100% of the time, it has not been my borrower. It has been,
it's not
the
because
property.
it's because we've run into like the HOA was like not compliant with federal guidelines. It's like, well, that wasn't our fault, but yeah. So pre-underwriting, and then in terms of I think this is a key piece. Like, it's really helpful for me as a realtor when we do find that property that you really like, you have to think about it from the seller's perspective. They have like maybe 5 offers on the table or something, And when they accept an offer, like they do not want it to fall through. Like a seller
Yeah.
wants to open escrow and close 3 weeks later or whatever, 4 weeks later. So they are nervous because buyers are like, maybe they don't qualify or they're just getting some random pre-approval online. And so for me, from a marketing standpoint of like getting to market you as a client, I get to say, I've worked with this lender a bunch of times. We've never had something not close because of the borrower. They're already pre-underwritten. So like the buyers are good. We will talk about the house, you know, and if there's repairs or this or that, but like you don't need to worry about them. And
Yeah.
that, you know, and we're not lying. Like we really get to. So I think you know, I'm probably skipping ahead here, but in terms of like strategy and marketing, like
Yeah.
it's sometimes it's I'm explaining to clients, new clients, like it's not that we don't want to take you to look at houses, it's that because we've laid all this foundation and your finances are like on point, when you do find that house, you're like
You're
you
ready.
can get it. Like, but
Yeah.
otherwise if we're still waiting for your documents and this, it's like they're asking, hey, are you guys going to make an offer? And I'm like, I don't know, because we're still waiting for the pre-approval. Like I don't ever want to be in that place where I'm not getting to sell
Right.
you to the listing side. So there's, oh yeah, this is my slide anyway. So um yeah, so then I'll just that I'll continue here then. So yeah, I think from the real estate agent, that's me. I'm your real estate agent. When I'm representing you as a buyer, I am it's a, you know, I'm your buyer's agent. And so there's typically a listing agent on the other side who's representing the seller. So um you know, before we even get to that place, like I'm really listening for, you know, what are you looking for? What are your needs? Like I just had, you know, new client phone calls this week, and I'm listening, like, okay, like, where's your work? What's your commute like? Do you have kids? How long are you planning to stay there? You know, what do you like in a house? Like someone was telling me they want, you know, central air and like this and that. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm already getting a sense of like, you know, and someone else could say, oh, I want like an old Spanish style house with character. I'm like, cool, we're gonna be looking at like old houses, right? So I I'm listening for all this stuff. So yeah, I'm sure we'll take you to some houses that you hate, but that's fine. That's part of the process. Like we want to see, we want to hear. Then after we've taken you to a few, we're like, oh, we already know you're not going to like this one, or you'll love this house, right? So we're kind of like learning with you. And so going to see houses and hating them and loving some, that's all part of the process. That's totally fine. And let me tell you, going to see houses in person is not scrolling on Zillow. They're very different experiences. It's great. I know you're looking at houses online before you go to bed, but like going to see a house is a totally different experience. So, I'm always a fan of like, let's just go see some houses. Like, let's just see what you feel. So, um, yeah, so then once we find something that you like, essentially we go full court press, right? Like cuz we're marketing you to the listing agent. Maybe in some markets it's not as competitive, but we are in Los Angeles, California. The
And it does
like
take a team, yeah, for sure, when those
the
offers go out.
you know, yes, sometimes we like hit where we're the only offer or this, like there's some specialty properties. So like if you're looking for a multifamily, like we just made an offer on a occupied triplex. Like there's not like fully occupied. So there's nowhere that you could even like, right? This is an investor. So yeah, there's not like 10 offers on that house, but on a kind of normal single family, you know, or you know, renovated townhome, like there's usually multiple offers. So we're trying to set you apart. Obviously, your purchase price is going to be one piece, but we've already kind of coached you into we're only going to look at homes that are in your range. So you should be making a competitive offer just because we're kind of like putting you in the band where you are going to be competing well. And also though, we kind of double check the listing agent's work, right? So like the listing agent ran comps and then talked with the seller about how much they should list it for. And we're just like double checking, right? So we're going to send you comps and we're going to say, hey, this is listed at this price. This is actually listed very low compared to the comparable sales. So even though you're making an offer above asking, we actually think this is more the fair market value of this property. So we feel comfortable with your offer going above asking. Or we're like, hey, if you're going to try to lowball this, it's already priced really low, or we're kind of we're not going to ever tell you what to offer, but we're going to kind of give you that market data, because our job is what we see our job as, like, you're the one in charge, we're just sort of giving you our expertise to help guide you through that.
Coach.
So yeah, ultimately we're kind of helping you figure all that out, and then yeah, protecting you. I mean, I work for you so I'm going to negotiate on your behalf, and I'm going to be like asking for credit if there's major repairs that we didn't know about. We're going to be helping you schedule inspections, get title stuff together, work with escrow, right? We're sort of project managing that whole escrow process for you. So my goal as your realtor is that you close and you've hit a bunch of green lights along the way, and any yellow lights we have like paused and negotiated, and if there's any major red lights, we're out. There's another house for you out there. Like my relationship with you is way more important than the house. I mean, I don't actually care about the house, frankly. I care about you. So that's how
Well,
no, I don't. If you
you
hate the
legitimately
house,
don't care about
no, I'm saying if this was, no, I'm talking about if
when you
it
get
was like,
excited. Yeah, no, I hear what
I'm
you're
saying if it was like a house that had
saying.
like major foundation issue. We just did this. We just backed out of an offer that
Right.
had major foundation issues, and yeah, the house is cute, but like it's not my problem. It's not my house. That's somebody else's problem to fix those foundation issues, and I want you to be happy. So sorry, what I mean is the house will be fine. I don't care about the house's feelings. I care about how you feel about it. So
Right, right.
um
No, and I mean,
yes,
that's definitely, that protection is super important. Yeah.
but that's true. Okay, so successful closed.
Yeah.
Do you
And
want
I
to share
think
more
that,
about mortgage?
yeah, well, I mean, I always tell people I'm your lender for life, right? And I think, that team is there for you for life, because I can't even tell you the number of times Sammy and I have, months after a loan closes, we're still here to answer. I mean, we may not always have the answers, but we always know who does have those answers. And so whether it's a question about taxes or insurance or reading whatever changes are happening in your impounds account
Totally.
for taxes and insurance. Those are all things that we don't go away. And then the lender for life pieces. The mortgage is a tool, and it's a
Right.
financial tool, and it's important that you kind of check in. And so we do an analysis of it at least once a year, and we take stock in what's happening in your life, and is this mortgage working for you? I mean, what are the interest rates currently? But also, do you have a fair amount of equity that you need to tap into in order to, I don't know, make renovations, go to college? I mean, who knows? Lots of things that we can explore. So with the appreciation of the home. So
Totally.
yeah.
Yeah, real estate, obviously for most folks, it's primarily the place that you're living, but it's also like a tool to achieve your other goals. And that's kind of what I mean about, like, I'm also just listening for, well, what are you trying to do, right? Like,
Right.
why are you buying? Yes, you want a place to live, but like, um, you know, and maybe it is a step up for something, or maybe you just need a place because of the school district, or I don't know, it's your first place and you know that this is where you're going to be for a little bit, or no, you want the forever home. So let's like hold out for something better, right? So ultimately just thinking of it as a tool. And like, I think we've gotten, we're definitely newer in the industry than folks, and we haven't been doing it for 30, 40 years. But I think we're getting to a place where like our clients are now becoming repeat clients, where like we've helped the same person like buy a condo, then buy a duplex, then sell, and is now looking for another investment. We are working with folks who, this is like we're kind of like along the journey with you as a tool, and we'll help you figure out like, okay, what are you trying to do next? Well, I'm excited. Like I love, I love like seeing people's journeys of, whatever their goals are. We're trying to like help them and strategize and working together. So, and yes, we are always I'm still like, I just get like random questions about fences or like this or that. I'm like, yeah, let's talk about it. And also as
Well,
you grow, right? So we have like financial advisors we work with, and like CPAs, and um uh like estate planning attorneys, right? So like, and insurance folks. So like as your situation expands and grows, like we're able to connect you with like, okay, how does this shift as you own real estate? Your life does get slightly more complicated, but it's okay.
yeah, good.
So yeah. Awesome. So if you have questions about anything, our information is below. And you can reach out and call or text us anytime. And yeah, we're happy to, this is kind of like the general overview, but we're happy to talk about your specific situation because everyone is unique and has a completely different situation. And yeah, is there anything else you want to share, Fiona?
No, I think we covered most of it.
If you are interested in the dream loan, now, right now,
Right now.
is the time. Like
Yeah.
this week, do not sit around and think about it.
No, we need to
Call
get those
Fiona right now.
applications in by the end of the week for the dream loan, because the week after next is when the lottery will open, and you need to get
Lottery.
everything. Yeah, it's exciting. I think it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. But yeah, we've got quite a
Yeah,
few people who are pre-approved for it and ready to go. They've done all their education, and
awesome.
get some people into some
Then we
houses.
got to go hunting. Then we got, if you get the lottery, then we
Yes.
got to go use the voucher. So, alrighty. Well, thank you, Fiona. As always, you are a wealth of knowledge, and I love doing this with you. Till next time.
Ditto.
Bye.
Bye.